I'm Rick Nelson, and on behalf of the AASHTO Committee on Maintenance, their Maintenance Operations Technical Working Group, and the Winter Weather Management Technical Service Program, formerly known as SICOP, SICOP Talks Winter Ops is proud to host this fourth National Winter Maintenance and Road Weather Briefing. Now, these briefings give organizations working in the severe weather and maintenance operations space an opportunity to showcase their efforts to help you achieve your winter maintenance and operations mission. This briefing is going to feature Matt Morreim, Public Works Director of the City of Shorewood, Minnesota, and APWA Liaison to the Winter Weather Management Technical Service Program. Hi, Matt. It's good to see you again.
Hey Rick, good to see you. Happy to be here and happy to talk about APWA and how we what we bring to the table to AASHTO SICOP and the technical service program.
Yeah, Matt, before we get started, tell us a little about yourself and about your involvement with APWA.
Yeah, so I've been with APWA for 15 years or so, and I took a job at the city of St. Paul about 13 years ago now, and I got into winter maintenance. I worked for the street maintenance department there, and with that, ended up throughout the years managing snow operations for the city of St. Paul, Minnesota, and throughout that, I got more and more involved with the APWA Winter Maintenance Subcommittee and became a member. And then through that membership and the partnership that APWA has with AASHTO, I became the liaison with AASHTO, I think it was 5, 6 years ago. And so I've been liaisoning with on the committee for a period of time now. And again, enjoy the partnership that both of our organizations have with each other and being able to learn and kind of grow and able to put out information to member states and our membership in APWA for the things that all the different agencies are developing in way of winter maintenance.
Yeah, there's been a long time great relationship between SICOP and APWA over the years, really since the beginning of the technical service program.
Yes, it's been a good partnership, and APWA is happy to be included.
So, Matt, what's going on with APWA these days in the world of snow and ice?
Yeah, so I put together a little presentation, a little APWA update. It's mostly all things winter maintenance. So I'll just kind of go through this here. I'm going to talk, it's a pretty short presentation here with some visuals. We'll go through kind of what we do as the winter maintenance subcommittee. We'll talk a little bit about the 2023 snow conference that was here in Omaha this past April. Great event. And then also we'll talk about our certificate programs, which is one of the bigger things that our subcommittee does to educate members and non-members with winter maintenance operations. And then I'll talk about some other activities that our winter maintenance subcommittee does as well. So our winter maintenance subcommittee, which is kind of where kind of our partnerships are born with other agencies, we do have 24 active members. I always like to put active there because if you're not an active member, you're not going to be a member of the subcommittee. We do a lot of things. Our biggest, biggest item is the North American Snow Conference that's held every year in a different city around North America. But there's a lot of other things that we do. In conjunction with the two main APWA conferences, we do have meetings at each of those conferences, April and late August. We do have those in person, but we do them on Zoom. If anybody would ever want to attend those, you can, whether it's Zoom or whatever, you can just contact me and we can send out a link. At these meetings, our members, we talk about all the different things, some of the educational opportunities. We provide updates, briefings from some of these opportunities that we have with other organizations. At the latest meeting here, we had 28 people that attended. We also, thankfully had, there's a lot of support from senior leadership in APWA. We had the APWA president, a couple board members, and the CEO there. So there's a lot of support for the things that we're doing in APWA. And just to maybe backtrack a little bit, APWA has about 30,000 members across private, public, small, large, state DOTs. There are state DOT members as well. We have membership in the subcommittee. As I mentioned, we have one new member, but we're always looking for anybody that's interested. Currently, I don't believe we have any state DOTs, but we're always looking for a broad range of membership in the subcommittee. So if anybody is interested, please let me know. And the biggest thing is just kind of getting in the fray, attending meetings, starting to be active. Again, we're a committee of doers, so there's a lot of things to help out with kind of the mission of spreading and educating winter maintenance techniques and technology and all those things that go along with that. One of the big things that we do is the North American Snow Conference. So we're always kind of discussing different ways that we can increase submissions and get more diverse submissions in for presentations for at future conferences. Certainly wanted to bring that up in this setting here. If anybody at a state DOT or anywhere else, if they have any unique technology or any, it could be emergency management related as it relates to winter maintenance, anything like that. We're certainly interested in hearing those, and our members would be certainly interested in seeing those presentations at future conferences.
Now,
we did our liaison reports. Again, one of my big things is reporting back on the things that we are doing with the technical service program with AASHTO. And then one unique thing I'll just say, we're continuing to look at different memberships throughout the industry. We are starting to have a more formal relationship, not completely formal, with SIMA on the private side of things. So they attended our meeting and conference this year, and we attended theirs, which I think was last weekend or the weekend before, or last week or the weekend before. So there's a lot of good things happening, a lot of things going on, and again, the subcommittee does a lot for furthering those goals.
Hey, Matt.
Here's kind of
Hey,
go ahead.
before you advance off there, is it fair to say that those presentations? Is it fair to say that those presentations at the snow conferences are more practically oriented presentations? At TRB they tend to be kind of researchy a little bit. Is that a fair characterization there?
That would be a fair characteristic, but it runs the gamut from safe working environment and driving and some of those type of topics, all the way to planning and putting together winter maintenance plans and forecasting. So yeah, it is a little bit more on the functional side of things, which obviously there needs to be the educational part too, to back up a lot of the functional things that are put in place. But yeah, typically that is the case. And we had liquid sessions this year. Again, we've had those liquid series for many years now, which those continue to be popular. This year we did a on-site calibration for salting equipment, which was the first year that we've been able to do the on-site session. We planned to do it a couple of years ago, but COVID kind of put a little bit of damper on that. But getting out of COVID, was able to do a lot more things at this conference.
Yeah, and what's SEMA?
SIMA,
SIMA.
So it is a organization for private contractors. They do winter maintenance for private contractors. I apologize for not knowing the acronym. I should know that, especially being with AASHTO, and there's so many acronyms. But yeah, no, but in essence, it's kind of APWA, which is more for public works, type agencies. This is for private contractors.
Okay,
and so it's all
for on the private side.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, so this is just kind of a picture of this is at our meeting here in April in Omaha. We typically do the meeting, so the conferences typically run Saturday through Sunday for the snow conference, which is a little bit unique, but we do our meeting on Saturday. Again, it can be remote or in person. We always enjoy having it in person just to see everybody and have those great discussions and all those things. So I was going to show this little video. Apologize for not having sound, but it's a pretty cool just overview of the snow conference, and you can see the showroom floor is kind of the biggest thing. I'll just play it here, and so this was in Omaha, again at the snow conference, the North American Snow Conference. There's a rather large showroom floor where they companies bring in snow blowers and plows and any large equipment. It's a good place to see large equipment and some of the new advances in technology. So there's a lot of people there, a lot of interaction. You can see someone brought in a simulator. There's a couple companies there for that, which is tends to be a useful item for DOTs. I know DOTs have either invest in those or potentially even own them. So a lot of different technologies that you can see at the snow conference. Here's the in-person. That was the in-person calibration where they had it outside the conference center. So it's a great event. If you've never gone, next year, I think I have a slide mentioning next year will be in Kansas City, so actually not too far from Omaha. Typically, we kind of try to get around the country a little bit. Last year and this next year will be for the most part in the same area, but typically we get around the United States. So this last year we did have, the word is that we had record attendance. I don't know exactly what that is. Over those 3 days, we do have 50 educational sessions in addition to the showroom floor. We do, I mentioned the operator and certificate program and supervisor certificate program. We'll get a little more in detail a little bit later on that, but both of those are at the snow conference.
Mm-hmm.
We did the on-site calibration. There's a lot of different new technologies. I'd say kind of one of the biggest things, especially for locals now, is some of the weather technology. Road weather technology, some new sensors, a little bit more cost-effective sensors for more local agencies that we can integrate with our forecasting systems. So those have been kind of the new technologies. There's a lot of other stuff with plowing and sidewalk machines and all those type of things as well. Again, next year we'll be in Kansas City, Missouri. So that's kind of an overview of the snow conference. Here's just a picture of the supervisor certificate. So I think we had nearly 250 people at that supervisor certificate. It's a very well attended event each year at the snow conference. It's a good, if you have any supervisors or soon to be supervisors, it's a very good training class to attend. And just mention the other big conference that APWA does have. It's called PWX. It's more broadly public works conference. So
Okay.
it does have some snow stuff in it, maybe a little less so in San Diego, but it goes into all aspects of public works. And this year it's in San Diego. They do have the National Rodeo there, which is kind of a cool operator event. And then again, we do have our subcommittee meeting, which will be Sunday morning. Again, if there's any interest in attending, please let me know.
Okay.
So just mentioning the winter maintenance supervisor and operator certificate courses, the supervisor course that we hold, all these courses we have typically our winter maintenance subcommittee members are a part of these courses with some local presenters. Typically when we go to the different sites, when we're at the snow conference, it's typically all the winter maintenance subcommittee members. And so the supervisor course is 8 hours, operator course is 4 hours. and we go through a number of different topics, planning, equipment, weather, materials, all that stuff. It's a very comprehensive, it is only 8 hours, and obviously there's more. We could probably talk for days about winter maintenance
Mhm.
and all the different things, but it packs it down into a pretty decent amount. And I think the operator course we intentionally condensed and took out maybe some of the more higher level type items with maybe planning on that side of things that maybe the operators don't need to know as much about.
Mhm.
So that one is shorter intentionally. So that has also been a very popular course, and we started that about, I think it's 2 years ago, basically coming out of COVID. And both programs do have an online pre-recorded version on APWA. You have to be a member of APWA to get it, but if you are a member,
Okay.
you can play those and pause them and do all the things you do. It removes some of the interactive nature of it, which is obviously a very huge benefit of having the live workshops, which we are going to have. Typically each year we have 8 to 12 maybe around the United States and Canada, and you can see some of the locations that we already have on the books for this next year. So if you're in any of those areas or not, if you want to have one of these, typically just contact APWA and we figure out if we can make it happen.
Yeah. Now, the contact to APWA, Matt, would that be you, or do you just reach into the bureaucracy of APWA and say, "Hey, I'd like to do a workshop," or how does that
You
work?
can contact me if it's not me, but you can contact me and I can get it in the right direction.
Okay.
Rita Cassida is our educational program manager. Um, but if you requested that from me, I would just forward it on to her,
Okay.
and then she then comes back to the winter maintenance subcommittee to make sure that to see if we can make it happen. Because again, not everybody that does these courses, when we do them on different sites, is a winter maintenance subcommittee, but there are some members so that we can kind of keep a consistent training course,
Right.
regardless of the location that we have.
Okay. Perfect.
So other activities through APWA, APWA puts out a monthly magazine. It's a physical magazine. They also have the online version as well. But the Reporter magazine, October is a winter maintenance edition. So if you maybe put those on the shelves without looking at them, the October one is the one that has all the winter maintenance stuff in them. It's actually a very good magazine. It's one of the few magazines that I actually do look at and page through and read articles. And, me being that millennial, that doesn't happen too often for us. But other things with the subcommittee, other are representing APWA on other subcommittees is we do have somebody on clear roads, and Dan Shocker from Alaska DOT is on the TRB winter maintenance and road weather committees. We have, much like AASHTO, APWA has subcommittees for trending technologies, connected and automated vehicles, and also an O&M operations and maintenance subcommittee as well that are part of the transportation committee. And we do have a member from our subcommittee that's also on the overall transportation committee to really to help APWA, but also help kind of some of the things that we do with the winter subcommittee as well. It's really big benefit having somebody on kind of all these things. So it kind of really helps the importance of our subcommittee um, and helping out with the different agencies.
Hmm.
Lastly, we do a click, listen, learn. There's monthly topics. APWA does a monthly topic, and our subcommittee will be doing one in October. I think it's September, October. Um, it is recruitment and retention of employees, which I know this was a topic at past maintenance committee meetings with AASHTO. I think the last year's was a big topic of recruitment and retention, and that certainly isn't any different for any local agencies. So that will be the topic of conversation, and it certainly is going to be focused on more of the maintenance side of things, which is unique in its own self to public agencies, regardless if you're a city, county, or state DOT, certainly with the CDL requirements that are needed
Yeah.
for the winter maintenance side of things. And that is all I had for kind of the update. And hopefully, and again, if anybody has questions, certainly my email's there. Any questions, please let me know. I can direct and any requests or questions to whomever may need. And I just appreciate the opportunity to kind of get some of what we do at APWA. Where, I think you and I, Rick, have talked about, sometimes state DOT see APWA as a local kind of organization, and my kind of come back to that is always that we have way more similarities than we do differences, maybe just different scales.
Right.
And I think that continues to be true. There's certainly things that we can do as local agencies, maybe better than DOTs because we're a little bit more nimble and small. But obviously, the state DOTs, there's a huge benefit that they do with some of the research, and kind of putting it all together in some of these partnerships is certainly a great thing.
Right. And like you say, Matt, you guys have got an awful lot of stuff going going on, and you really touch the practitioners in a hard way. I mean, you're very practitioner centric there
Yep.
with APWA and the snow and ice program.
Yep. Yeah, it's one of the things that really draws me to continue just being around. Is there's I always think like, oh, people have been doing liquids for a couple decades, everybody knows about it. I mean there is a lot of people that know about those things, but there's a lot of new people that
Right.
need to get up to speed, and whether or not they're able to get that through their organizations or maybe their surrounding communities doesn't always happen. And so I think there's just always that continued need for education and resources to help with whether it's DOTs. You got the different shops that are all over the place. Not every shop is going to be consistent from one location to another.
Right.
That's the same with cities and counties. Not one city is going to be the same here as it opposed to northern Minnesota versus the Twin Cities metro. And I see a lot of those very significant differences, and it's putting the information in front of them and letting those agencies kind of come along, sometimes at their own time, but certainly there is becoming more regulations, and certainly requirements are being put in place that as an industry we need to move to a certain way
Hmm.
to make sure that we're providing safe roads, but doing it in a environmentally safe manner.
Right. Well, and I think that's what makes this your certificate training program so important. Is it adds that, I hate to say a level of credibility, but it adds sort of this standard, this base level of training, so that you're aware of these issues, these environmental issues, these operational issues, these techniques and tools that are available to you. I would really like to see a lot more people get engaged in that certificate training program.
Yeah, and I completely agree. And I always, in Minnesota here, we have our smart salting tool as well that, combined with that, through our Minnesota Pollution Control Agency, there's so many best management practices that agencies can improve on. And again, doesn't matter the size of your agency, um, there's so many things you can improve on. And I always tell people, just bite off what you can chew first. There's, I maybe made, I don't know if it was a mistake, it was good, but at St. Paul came in and I was like, oh man, we need to improve everything.
Yeah.
We tried to do everything all at once, and some things were successful in doing, and
Yeah.
some things took longer over time. But
Yeah.
as long as we're moving that needle in the right direction, I think those are the steps that certainly pollution control agencies, but also our elected officials and our residents want to see as well. I, I'm here in Minnesota. I don't know if it's a different dynamic other places, but 10, 15 years ago when I got into this part of the industry, people didn't care whether we put down 1,000 tons of salt or 10 tons of salt. They just wanted a clear road.
Mm-hmm.
Now they pay attention. If they see a bunch of salt out there, they, at least here, I hear about that as opposed to the other side of things,
Right.
which 15 years ago I didn't think I probably would. I didn't think that was going to be possible, but it is. Certainly, there's people on both sides, but I think we're trending towards the part of we need to be more sensible,
Mm-hmm.
and do what's smart and not what maybe is not
Right.
the right thing to do.
Yeah. Matt, it's been great to see. It's great to visit with you. What we'll do is we'll put your contact information below this video so folks can reach out to you directly. If there's some websites you think that would be beneficial, the APWA reporter website or whatever, just shoot those my way and we'll get those included too, so folks can get those resources.
Sounds good, Rick. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Matt, thanks again. And until next time, thanks for tuning in and stay safe out there.